Right, so in this video we're going to be covering this unit here. It's the Ringder RC116M. There's a lot of thermostats which look exactly like this. The wiring should actually help you as well. You might just find that they're in different ports. So the way we're going to wire this one will pretty much be the same as another unit. You might just have to swap the port entries around. I've done many of these different units, STC 1000, very similar wiring, just different ports, and I've had other ones as well. So my reptile park has got these all over the place. It's a really great unit, also nice and affordable, and extremely accurate within a degree. They can have a massive, quite a large load of about 1100 watts. You do get them in 12 volt and everything, but this is a 220 volt, so this is for full current here. Okay, so we're going to go through the wiring of this unit, and then also obviously the programming of it. We've had a lot of customers who buy these, get very confused. It looks like a simple layout of how to connect it, but if you're not an electrician, it's not so easy. Now these units can be used for heating and for cooling, so you could connect it to a fan if you wanted to take air out to cool a certain environment, whether you're using it in a hydroponic system or reptiles, or doesn't matter. Very popular in the refrigeration industry for heating, for cooling. And then it's also got the heating function, which would be for defrosting, and there's time delays, which you would only need for something like a motor of a freezer. You don't want it going on off, on off, on off all the time. There's going to be a massive strain on the motor, so you would have a delay time. So with keeping reptiles and things like that, you pretty much want to set it to the lowest delay time as possible. Some of the units maybe goes to 1 minute, and then other units it will be instantaneous. So we'll get to wiring this unit. As I say, really cool unit, and it's great to see stuff like this on the market, making it very affordable. So everyone who's keeping a snake, whether it be a corn snake or a high-end ball python, you can afford a thermostat. Alright, so we're going to wire up this device quickly. You can see there is a wiring diagram here, but for the average folk it is actually quite confusing. So we're going to try and get rid of all the confusion now. You can follow this step by step. Hit pause if I'm moving too fast, or if you're stuck anywhere, and just to get a recap you can just rewind. So what we're going to do is first start by wiring a plug. Now a lot of you might know exactly how to wire a plug, but there's a lot of people who might not, and I have had some people come in with wiring things very funny ways, where the earth and the live together and all sorts of weird stuff. So what I normally do is just cut about 1 centimeter, just give that a good twist, fold it in half. It makes a nice lot of meat for the screws to screw down onto. Been doing this for years, no problems ever really. Makes a really nice fit. So you just want to open these screws all the way. Okay, and with this wire that we've got here, it's just I think it's called twin flex. Okay, it's just 2-piece wire. You want to make sure that you've at least got one that can hold some proper current. You don't want to use some flimsy little speaker wire or something like that. Now with these wires, sometimes there's actually writing on the one piece. Okay, and sometimes they can be blank, but the one might have a ridge on the one end. Okay, so this one's got a very fine little ridge on one end. I normally treat that as the live. So looking at the plug, obviously here in South Africa, we got brown, which is live, blue, which is neutral. Okay, so we just want to pop that in. As you can see, the wire goes in all the way. There's barely any showing. You want to make sure you do that with all your connections nice and safe. Okay, screw this down nice and tight. Check, yep, it's in there fast. It's not going to come out. In there tight, not going to come out. Okay, and then the neutral, same there. Okay. Alright, then just fold it over. You want to leave a little bit still inside the unit for a little bit of play. Okay, and then you jam that in there, these little places, so if it gets pulled it doesn't rip out. Okay, put the cap back on, screw it in. Each one's different, some are clip ones, but I mean that's much of a match in the same principle. Okay, so there goes the plugs on. Now, what we want to do with the wiring here, okay, is first I want to actually strip quite a bit off. Okay, I don't know, it's about, say, 8 centimeters or something like that. Okay, I'm going to clip those off. I'm going to be using one of them, the other one's going to be waste. So again, about 1 centimeter. Just clip that there. And this is going to be used for the bridge, which I'll show you now. Your unit will not work unless you bridge it. Okay, so bridging is just taking the power from one point and bringing it to another as well. Okay, so here's our one with the ridge on it, which is our live. So I want to take our little bridge wire. Okay, I want to put it on there, give it a nice tight twisting. Okay, and obviously try and work as neat as you can, because these units don't give much leeway for untidy work or anything. Then I want to clip it sort of under 1 centimeter or so. You'll be able to see if you put it in the unit and it's still sticking out, then you should maybe clip it a bit shorter. Okay, so just like that. Okay, and that's going to be neutral, and then this is also live because we've bridged it now. Okay, and I'm just going to clip that to about 1 centimeter. And then I want to fold this one over to 0.5 centimeter. Okay, so far that's where we are. Now this here is the wire to the power device, whether it be your heat pad, heat emitter, it doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to connect the neutral to that. So now we've got neutral going to the device, the heating device, and we want to just clip that as well, like say 0.5 centimeter. Don't know what that is in inches, sorry. Work on centimeters, meters and kilos here in South Africa, but you guys can just, I mean, you can see it's quite easy. All right, and then this one here, this one will be continuing the live. Again, just want to clip it a bit shorter, it's a bit too long, and then also just fold it over. Now you can solder these ends, but what I have found when I've soldered, a lot of the time when I fit it in the back of these units, you can actually just pull it out. Doesn't matter how tight you screw on it. So it also depends on what type of solder you use. Some goes very hard, others go very soft. But in the end, this is, I know it looks a bit messy, it might be confusing on the video, but if you follow it step by step, you should have something that looks like this. Okay, so remember these two wires here is to the light, okay, neutral going there. This is neutral in, okay, and here's live and it's bridged here. So we're going to just open this unit quickly. You'll see at the back there's a little screw. Okay, it's just a little cover guard for where your wires and everything go in. And as I say, with these units you really need to work as neatly as possible. You don't want to take chances. Okay, so now looking at this the back of this here. Okay, we've got 3 and 4. This is where the power is coming in. Neutral to 4, live to 3. Okay, so we want to start there. We'll connect those quickly. So this one here is neutral. Okay, what we first want to do is just make sure that all these screws are fully open. You need a little flat screwdriver. This one's quite a big screwdriver, it just fits in there. Okay, so you want to make sure those are open all the way. Much easier to get it in there. Alright, so we open those pretty much all the way that they can go. Alright, so then we're looking for the neutral, which is this one. The neutral goes to number 4. You can see these don't really line up too well. 5 and 6, there's nothing over here. That's 5 and 6 there. So you just work from left to right. Okay, so number 4 is right here. Okay, and you want to push that in there as well as you can. Okay, I'm going to go nice and tight, but you don't want to overdo it. Okay, now you can't see any, you can see there. Just get it to focus on the right point. Okay, so you can't see any of the copper sticking out because live and neutral are going right next to one another. So if you have a little bit too much that's sticking out the unit, it's going to arc over there and you're going to have sparks flying. So very important, that's why I say with these units they're not very forgiving. You got to work as neat as you can. And this is also why working with like thicker, heavy cabled wire, it's very tricky. Okay, so there you can see. Alright. They're not touching each other. If they maybe get pulled out a little bit, then they could. But what I often do is I actually put some hot glue from a glue gun in and around that. Kind of secures it in there. If they do come out, they're still kept apart from one another nicely. Alright, so now that that's sorted, we got our little live here still that we're bridging. Okay, now that goes to number 1, as you see on device here. Number 1, see, it's bridged there. Okay, so we pop that in at number 1, screw it down nice and tight. Okay, alright, so now the light has got neutral only. So here's the live. I'm going to take the live, and here you can see what would happen. Okay, so live is coming in at 3, it's being bridged to 1, it is going through this circuit, okay, and putting power on your load, which is your light, your heat device. Okay, so at the moment that's open. Okay, so that's why when the device turns on, it'll switch that little switch and then put power to your device. This is why I wire it up exactly like this. These units are actually quite forgiving, and if you put the neutral in the live section and the live in the neutral section, it'll still work. But the thing is, you've got live current passing through everything. You just need something to earth it or break it or whatever. It's a lot safer doing it this way. Okay, so we're going to pop that in there. I'm just going to screw that one tight. Okay, so there we go. That's all that, the wiring side done. Now, the last thing, just to keep it out of the way and do it last. This is the probe, which is going to actually tell the temperature. You want to put it on the surface where the heating is. So if you've got a heating pad, you want to tape it down onto the heating pad. Now, I must be careful with tapes or certain adhesives. If they come off and they get sticky, they get stuck onto the snake. But what I've found, you get the aluminium tape, works really well, it sticks very well. I've never actually had a problem with that. Things like duct tape and stuff you want to stay away from. Alright, so we're going to pop this in here. Even hot glue will work, but that does tend to come off depending what it's glued onto, a tile or whatever. Okay, so we just put the sensing wires in, doesn't matter which way around, so you can't make a mistake there. You just don't want to put anything else in that section like live. Alright, now to turn on the device and hopefully it works and doesn't explode. Okay. There we go, it didn't make even a noise. Alright, so there we go, we've got power. Okay, now to go through the settings of these. I haven't had a refresher as yet. Most of my videos it's just turn the camera on and let's go. So we want to hold down set. Okay, and then it says HC, so we want to set this. Okay, HC, C would be cooling mode. Okay, so it's on cooling mode at the moment. We want heating because we're obviously using it for a heating device with our reptiles. Cooling, you would set for cooling for a fridge, freezer, or fans or something. Alright, so let's just do that again. Holding on set. Now it looks like it's strobing and everything in the back of the camera here, but it's not doing that in what I'm looking at it. Okay, so we set to heating, that's right. We go to differential. The differential, so this is the difference that you want the device to turn on and off at. So let's set that just down. I like to go 0.5 is cool. Okay, set. Okay, lower setting. Okay, that's the lower temperature that you want it to be set or fiddled with or what have you. So you could set that as a parameter, but you don't really need to. We're looking at heating. So we want to set, whoa, that's hot. Okay, so we want to bring that all the way down. Let's say we've got a corn snake or a certain rat snake that likes about 28 degrees, 29 as their hot spot. Okay, 29 degrees, spot on. And with a differential of 5, we'll go to 28.5 to 29. Okay. And then CA is calibration. That should be on 0000, because as far as we know, this device should be accurate. You only set that if you're finding that what you're reading with a temp gun or something is not the same as what that probe is reading, and then you can adjust it with a calibration. PT, that's a time delay. You want to set that to 0. Okay, it's in minutes. So this is normally used for fridges and freezers. If you've got a motor or something, you don't want it turning on off all the time. It's going to blow the motor. It's quite hard on them. They need time for cooling and so on. But for keeping reptiles, we want to set that to 0 so that it's instantaneous, giving heat power. Okay, so that's the one. So we want to set that to 0. Okay, and then we just leave the device. It'll save its settings. Alright, there we go. And then we don't have lights. So why do we not have lights? Oh, right. So you hold set to go into the settings. And if you want to set the temperature, you just push set. So at the moment it's minus something, that's why it's not coming on. It's not even picking things up yet. Okay, so this takes a little while. Not as fast as some of the other devices, but it's not too bad. Okay, so you'll see as we get into 29, it won't go higher than that. It'll actually go all the way down to the lowest setting. So earlier we were in the higher and lower settings. You see there, gone to minus 40. Okay, 29 is the highest someone can set it. So those are just safety precaution settings. All right, now giving it some heat. Let's just get this so that we can see better. Okay, so the infrared light is on and we are heating. Okay, so it's steadily climbing. Then once we get to 29, it's going to shut down. Okay, so I've just got it with a 175 watt infrared at the moment. Okay, here we're getting close now. Here we go. Okay, so 29. Very accurate. Now I'm just going to zoom out here quickly. Okay, so you can see the light at the back here. It's turned on for heating again. Now if you've got an animal that's basking, you want to fit this light at the highest basking spot, yeah, where the reptile is going to be laying. So say you got a bearded dragon or something and he's laying here with his back, chameleon, it doesn't matter. Okay, this is the hottest point you want this animal to get too. You don't want them to get this close. Then that's when they're going to start burning themselves. Alright? And then also very importantly, you don't want to go with too high a wattage for the size enclosure you've got. So I mean, this is a 175 watt lamp. I wouldn't fit this in like a little small Exoterra small tall or something. You'll absolutely cook your animal to death. So you've got to have a sort of understanding of, you know, having enough heating but not enough to cook your animal. So if anything goes wrong with this thermostat, all right, and it stays on for some reason, the relay has given out after 2-3 years, who knows how long, okay, they can last longer. I've got some that have been going 7 years. Now if that happens and this light stays on constantly, okay, and your wattage is too high, you could cook that animal. So you want a certain wattage that is just going to stay warm enough. Okay, even if it stays on constantly, it might get to 30, 35 degrees. Okay, that's nice for a beardie. They'll like that basking anyway. But say it's like a corn snake or something, and it's like 35 degrees, and it's still climbing, he's getting too hot. He can move to the cold side of the cage, he's going to be fine. So if you're out at work, not a problem, your animal's not going to cook. Alright, if you put this high wattage and the animal can't move away from it, can't thermoregulate properly, it's getting too hot, you can die. Alright, so that's why it's very important just to make sure you get the right sort of wattage. Also take into consideration summer and winter plays a big role in what sort of wattage light you might need. But as long as the snake can get away from the heat source to the cooler side, then you won't have a problem. Okay, so any of your local pet shop that's selling reptile products, or whoever you're buying your stuff from, should be able to give you a good sort of idea as to what wattage you should use for what size cage and height of the cage and so on. Alright, so guys, I hope that helps. Obviously what we would do is we pop that back on. Okay, and these have really cool mounting clips. So you can just push those out and you cut a hole exactly square size that this fits in. And then you've just got that really nice display showing. Very, very cool unit. So we do stock these. If you're in South Africa and you're looking for them, we do stock them, so you can give us a shout.